but I could see a difference if I manipulated the yarn. They are all leftovers as I mentioned, but some are more leftovers than others. Yeah, for now it really looks like you have a condom on your head. It feels like this took longer than this sweater, that I need twice, so. But it's not a bow like the small I-cord ties that make the really teeny tiny bows. So this is why I got this in a borrowing color. Hi, my name is Maya and welcome to episode 71 of my knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. Today is the 11th of February 2026 and I'm coming to you from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live with my gecko. And I am back home. If you saw the last video, I wasn't at my place, but this time I am back with my gecko, with the gloomy lighting and with the cute fairy lights on the back. So today I have 3 finished objects to tell you about. I have 1 work in progress and I have some acquisitions. Who am I? And also for once, I am not going to start with what I'm wearing, which is one of today's finished objects. I'm going to talk about this at the end because it's going to segue into some other things I want to say about it, and it's going to be boring to start with that, so it's going to have to wait for the end of the episode. And I think most of you know what this is anyway, so I probably don't need an introduction. So let's start with my other finished object, which I forgot to bring with me, so just go and grab it. I spent 15 minutes setting up the whole podcast setup and I forgot the most important thing. So this is my finished objects that I actually had already finished in the last episode, but this is a pair of shorts that I designed and it's blocked this time because last time they were finished. I mean, the knitting was done, but I hadn't blocked them. And as you can see, the transformation is pretty epic. I mean, look at the drape. Oh my goodness. I am so in love with those. So last time they were looking really rough and unfinished, and the bottom hem was curling like crazy and it was looking wrinkly. It had 0 drape and yeah, it really didn't look good at all. But now it looks like I bought this in a luxury shop, to be honest. But yeah, so the pattern name for now is the Sunnyside shorts, but I think I'm going to change it because last time so many people suggested awesome names and I was like, why didn't I think of them myself, because they are so good. So thank you for that. And I think when the video goes live, there should be a poll in my stories on Instagram to vote for your favorite name. So if you want to have a voice in that, you can go there. I think I have already selected the one I want, but I'm just curious to know what do you guys think. So the contenders for now, the first name is the original name, which is the Sunnyside shorts. So the idea was that the vertical details here look like sun rays radiating from the center, kind of. They are also on the back. And I just wanted a name that was kind of similar to that reminded of something sunny or shining or just warm weather in general because of the vibe and the drape and the chicness of the whole thing. So that's why I went with Sunnyside. And also, since this pattern is kind of the sister pattern to the skater skirt, which is my first design, and it's a skater style skirt with kind of a similar shape, but it's a skirt. And it also has pockets, so those have hidden pockets here. You probably didn't see them at first, right? I'm so proud of them. They look absolutely invisible, but they are here and they are very practical. Yeah, so I wanted a name that was kind of similar in vibe and in phonetics to the skater skirt, but I couldn't go with cheater shorts. So that's why I went with the Sunnyside shorts. But some of you suggested. First, I think some people talked about seashore or shore shorts, which works with the alliteration concept I wanted to use. But it's kind of a mouthful. I mean, it's difficult to say, the shore shorts. And yeah, because of that, I don't think I'm going to go with this one. Seashore shorts is a little bit easier, but still, yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue, roll off the tongues. It's not satisfying to say, so yeah, I don't think I'm going to go with that. Somebody else suggested seaside shorts, which is super cute, but I think there are a lot of patterns named seaside something already. I know a few ones. There's the seaside dress and the seaside shorts and the seaside set, so probably not those either. And then someone suggested the shining shorts. Super cute, I like it. However, I already have the shine on you top, so I think it's going to be a little bit too similar without being the same thing. Like maybe if I had used the same diamond motif on the shorts, calling them the shining shorts would be a nice like reminder of this other pattern, but it's not the case. But I still like the name, so maybe. The last suggestion I think was shimmer shorts, which I really, really love. And I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I think a couple of people suggested that. So I think the vote on Instagram is going to be for Sunnyside or shimmer or maybe shining, between the three. Or maybe seashore as well. I'm not sure. You're going to have to go on Instagram to check that out. But yeah, the name is probably going to be one of those. I think I know which one, but I'm not 100% sure yet. And the yarn I used is Pernel by Natisea. It's 100% hemp yarn, which means it's 100% plant fiber, which is why it has such a beautiful drape. And it's kind of sturdy yarn, which is going to be perfect for something where you're going to sit on and it's going to get rubbed on a lot because it's on your butt. And I think it's just perfect for a pair of bottoms. And as you can see, maybe, yeah, the back is longer than the front. Yeah, you can see the back peeking behind. That's because I have short rows built in so that the back covers your behind so that people cannot see your buttocks from the bottom of the shorts, like when you go upstairs or stuff like that. It was really important because I forgot about them the first time in the skeeter skirt, but this time I was like, I'm gonna have them in immediately. So I'm even gonna have two sets of short rows. So the ones that you see here are knit on the bottom of the shorts, right after the leg separation here. So you need one set of short rows on one leg and then the other set on the other leg separately. And there is an optional second set of short rows at the top, just below the waistband. So if I hold them like this, the second set of short rows is up here under the waistband. And this is optional because not everybody needs them, but some people really need them. So yeah, I decided to just add this as an option. And as you can probably tell in the pictures, the beautiful pictures that I got back from my photographer, you can see the back is longer than the front for me, and it kind of gives, I mean, you can see it. It's not as if when you see me from the side, the shorts look like they are flat. It's not the case, but I think it looks nice. It's a look that I enjoy. However, if I had added the short rows under the waistband as well, it would be pushing it too far and it would look like a pair of diapers. So I didn't do that. But for some people it's going to be necessary, so they are here. The test call is going to come on Monday, so in a few days from now. I'm just waiting on the last edits from my tech editor. Hopefully it should be all good now. It was pretty fast to edit, which I'm pretty happy about because I was worried because I have never graded a pair of shorts, but yeah, it went pretty smoothly. So test call should be on Monday, so definitely stay tuned for that. And it's going to be a 10 weeks long, if I'm not mistaken, test. And yeah, I'm super excited to see how it's going to go. I hope you will like it. And yeah. Oh, one last thing about the yarn I forgot to mention. So this is not the first time I use this yarn. And the last time, I don't remember who told me that, but I was suggested to wash the hank, soak the hank in warm water, like basically blocking the yarn before knitting with it, because in the hank form the yarn is pretty stiff and dry and very rough and kind of difficult to manipulate, and blocking the hank helps soften the fibers and it just makes it easier to knit with. So I did that with this one, and I couldn't really see a difference between normal hank and the blocked hank of yarn, but I could see a difference if I manipulated the yarn in a way to kind of break into the fibers, I want to say, and that did soften the yarn a lot. And someone told me in the comments of that video that the point of blocking the yarn before knitting with it actually is to soften the fibers in themselves, not for the knitting experience, but also to prevent wrinkles when you finish the thing. Because if the yarn is softened up, it breaks less, and less breakage means less wrinkles in a finished piece. So that was interesting to know, and yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to share it. And I think that's it for this one. So let's talk about my next finished object, which is a cute pair of socks. I mean, cute. They look super weird here. But I got the photos back from the photo shoot, so I can show you what they look like on. And they are so cute when they are worn. And it's so funny because when I finished these, I was like, this is the ugliest thing I have ever knit. I found them, yeah, just awful. Because I just threw all my leftover yarns in there. They are DK weight. So I held some fingering weight double and I just used DK weight random things that were laying around. And I didn't give any thoughts about the color placement. I mean, I just avoided putting the pink after the pink and then those two next to each other because they were kind of dark, both. So that's why I ended up with this weird striping sequence. And yeah, I mean, as is, they look pretty silly. But when they are on, they look cool, like stylish and modern. I don't know how to say it. I'm just so in love. They are kind of my favorite pair of socks I have ever knit now, which is pretty funny to me. But yeah, so I'm not using any pattern. It's just a made-up thing. I knit them on 3mm needles and they are ribbed on the top. Maybe you can tell. Yeah, ribbed on the top and then all around the leg. And I do increases along the whole foot because that's how my foot is shaped. And then I do this is a fish lips kiss heel and I do it over more than half of the stitches so that I have a deeper heel because I have a high ball of foot. Yeah. And then I do decreases after the heel because my ankle is smaller than my foot. And then since this is quite long because I like a long leg, I do increases again before the bind off so that it's not too tight when I put them on. And for the yarns I used, they are all leftovers as I mentioned, but some are more leftovers than others. So just before this pair, I knit another pair using only this, and I had a little bit left. So I used the purple for heels and toes, and I had exactly enough to do both heels and toes, which is pretty epic to me. And I just ran out at the very end of this heel. I had to swatch the color for the blue already, and then it means I had to cut the yarn twice, but whatever. I had enough yarn to do both heels and toes on those in this color. And this is left over from another pair of DK weight socks. It's like Drops Fiesta, this one, and this is also Drops Fiesta, but it's left over from a pair of mittens. And this one, the dark thing here, is leftovers from a headband that I knit like 3-4 years ago and I gave to a friend. It's fingering weight that I held double, it's hand-dyed yarn. And this one is pretty weird. This one comes from an advent calendar that I think it was 2022 or 2021. And it was a fingering weight advent calendar, hand-dyed. But for some reason, day 24 was a DK weight mini. And I contacted the dyer to ask if it was normal because it was like day 24. I figured maybe it was made on purpose. It wasn't. It was a mistake. So he was very sorry and he offered to compensate for that, but I was like, it's okay, it's fine, I don't mind. So I used this DK weight 20 gram mini into this finally, and it looks pretty fun. It wasn't made on purpose that the heel is exactly in the middle of this. It just happened and yeah, looks intentional. And this one is just a superwash merino thing, and it's leftovers from a headband that I knit for my friend Anna, which is the one posing with me in the photographs. And I used only half of this, so I'm probably going to have more for another pair of DK weight socks because I am now addicted to knitting scrappy DK weight socks. It's just awesome. And it's so efficient to get rid of random scraps, fingering weight and DK weight. I love it. I'm obsessed. That's it for the finished objects. I mean, aside the one I'm wearing, but I'm going to talk about that at the end. So now we can talk about my only work in progress, believe it or not. And it's a hat. And it's a pretty simple hat. It's a ribbed top-down hat. And it has this detail on the top that I'm pretty happy about. It looks so clean. And I used the double-sided cast-on for the top here so that it's seamless. And when you knit ribbing and you do a double-sided cast-on, the stitches are offset by half a stitch, and I was worried it would look weird. But if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't have seen it, so it's looking perfectly fine for me. And there are a lot of designs out there with this type of shaping for the crown. but I couldn't find a single one that was top-down, and I was wondering if there was a real reason for it, like is it particularly difficult to design or what? Absolutely not. Super easy, super straightforward, so I have no idea why not all those patterns are top-down, because it also, like when you do decreases on one side, you do knit two together, and the other side you do slip slip knit. You probably have noticed that the slip slip knit tend to do a very ugly like ladder effect, and it's quite difficult to get rid of. But if you do increases, there's no issue. So top down is better. And yeah, it's going along smoothly, and it's taking ages because I'm using 2.75 millimeters and it's 1x1 ribbing. And I don't know, usually I'm pretty fast at ribbing, but this is really like, it feels like this took longer than this sweater that I knit twice, so. And the yarn I'm using, it's sport weight yarn, it's Journey Sport by Julie Asselin. I think it's a Canadian brand. Lovely yarn, incredible yarn. It's a mix of 75% Rambouillet and 25% Targhee, which are very like springy and soft yarns, and it's incredibly beautiful. It's just perfect for a hat because it's just so stretchy. And I can't really try it on because the needles are too small, and the needles are smaller than tri-line tubing, so it's kind of a pain to transfer this on tri-line tubing. So I cannot really show it to you, but it looks really silly for now because the stretching is really itself into, yeah, it's just really tight. And I just hope that once I block it, it's gonna relax a little bit, because yeah, for now it really looks like you have a condom on your head. I just hope it's gonna get better because I don't want to start it over. I already, at some point I stopped increases and then I started knitting straight, but it was way too small, so I had to rip back and increase more, and it really felt heartbreaking because this is taking so long. But I just hope blocking will solve everything and that it will be large enough, because for now it's not. And also, when I put this on, so at the top here, the edge is laying kind of flat, but when I put it on, it tends to... Can I show it if I put my hands in? Yeah, it tends to do this, which looks really, really silly. And I hope blocking will solve this, and if it doesn't, I think I'm gonna stick like a little piece of straight thing, a bit of plastic or whatever, to hold the fabric up like this, so that it doesn't make the 2-point thing. Because yeah, it really breaks the look. So hopefully I can fix that with blocking, otherwise I will have to put something hard in there so that it doesn't move. And I'm knitting this for my boyfriend, Mr. Tinks, because he already owns a hat with a similar kind of crown shape, and I know this is what he enjoys, so I just decided to do something he likes so that I'm sure he's gonna wear it, so that I don't need all of this for nothing. Whew. And then it's not really a work in progress, but kind of. I have a few swatches to show you. Where are they? Oh yeah, here. It's for my next design, one of my next designs, should I say, because it's time to cast on summer knits. I mean, I already have the shorts, but top garment wear summer knits. And I'm using this yarn, which is a boucle, but it's 100% silk. So it's a really, really lovely yarn, and it was extremely expensive. It was 28 Swiss francs per 50 grams, which is kind of double the usual for a hand-dyed yarn. But it's 100% silk, and it's boucle, and it's hand-dyed, and it's beautiful. So yeah, we're gonna say it's fine, but I'm probably not gonna buy this yarn again. By the way, this is 250 gram skins wound together, so this is 100 grams. So I have started swatching for a summer top that's going to be shaped like an open front vest, I think. I'm still not 100% sure about the open front, but it's going to be a v-neck for sure. And the idea I have is based on a picture from a top that like a knitter was wearing in a podcast of hers. It's a French podcaster, and I really like the detail of the v-neck and the bow on the front, but it's not the bow like the small I-cord ties that make the really tiny bows. It's a big chunky ribbon that makes a very elegant look, I think. So this was the image I had in mind, and I had this boucle, and I just thought it would be fun to have this kind of top with boucle. I just like the vibe. So I made those swatches. I have no idea what the right side and wrong side are. Yeah, right side. So I made those two. The first one I did on 3. Forgot to tell you what the yarn is. So it's Boucle Seide. Boucle Seide. It's in German, from Seiden Atelier. And it's a Swiss brand, and they basically do yarns with silk. Seide is silk in German. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. And it's a sport weight yarn. It's 150 meters per 100 grams. 50 grams. 150 meters per 50 grams. So I'm knitting this at a kind of a sport weight gauge. And I used the first swatch I did on 3.5 millimeters. And for some reason I was knitting pretty loosely. I don't really know why. So this swatch has a gorgeous drape, like incredible, but it's a little bit too flimsy. The gauge is a bit too loose, and I think it's not gonna look nice. It's gonna look like, yeah, just too drapey for me. So I tried again with 3.25 millimeters. We are losing light. What's happening with the clouds? It's literally midday, it's noon. Yeah, I tried again with 3.25 millimeters, and I knitted tighter because I don't know why I was knitting so loosely for this one. And it's feeling a lot better. Like, it still has a lovely drape, but the fabric feels stronger. It doesn't feel flimsy and weird. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with that. And this is 23 stitches per 10 centimeters. So yeah, perfect sport weight gauge, I would say. But then I realized that you cannot see anything with boucle, of course, because there is a lovely detail on the side here. I actually have a teeny little bit of double knitting on the side so that it doesn't roll. But since it's 100% silk, it doesn't roll at all anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. But it's still better to have the edges be a little bit thicker so that it's just a bit stronger in general. So I have a teeny bit of double knitting that you can kind of see on the wrong side. Here you can see this column of stitches. And it's a beautiful detail, but you cannot see anything in the boucle. So I tried doing another swatch with another yarn. I wasn't planning on knitting a second sample of this one, but I just realized it was a necessity because I don't usually knit multiple samples of my designs. But here it really felt necessary. So I had this yarn in my stash, which is something I bought at the same time as the boucle, by the way. It was at the Swiss Yarn Festival from last year in April. And this is yarn from a brand that's called Save the Yarn, which basically buys leftovers, dead stock, something like that, from clothing brands, and they sell this yarn as like second-hand on cones and stuff like that. So this is called Carla. It's this lovely little ball. It's a 50-gram ball, and this is a mix of 55% silk and 45% cotton, and it's a lace weight. It's 375 meters per 50 grams. And since I want a sport weight, I held it triple, because lace weight held double is fingering and lace weight held triple is sport. So I did this swatch. It's still wet. I just I washed it yesterday, and then I went to sleep and I forgot to take it out of the bath. So it's still wet. But it's giving a lovely fabric. It's incredibly smooth and it's so soft, like so soft. And the gauge is perfect. I also get 23 stitches per 10 centimeters, but I used the bigger needle size. I used 3.25 for the boucle and I used 3.5 for this one. But yeah, whatever. I'm hitting the same gauge, so that's what matters. And I think it's going to be very lovely for the garment idea I have in mind. It's going to be very chic and dressed up, and I think in this clean white, it's going to be beautiful. So I'm very excited that I found a usage for this yarn that I was almost considering destashing because I didn't have any plans for it, but suddenly I have. So I'm glad I kept it. So those are my swatches, and I have started also another type of swatch here, which is looking a bit weird for now. But this is an attempt to do the ribbon on the front. I just want to check, because I cannot knit it flat, otherwise it's going to curl on the sides. I mean, for me it's not, because I'm using... Actually, it's not going to curl at all, so I could knit it flat. Maybe I should just knit it flat. But then if someone... how do you say that? Not swap. Not replaces. Substitutes the yarn for something that is gonna curl, then the ribbons are gonna look like trash. So maybe I should put an option to knit them flat or in the round. I don't know. Food for thought. But I started knitting a little bit of a swatch for the ribbon in the round. So I cast on half of the stitches and then I increased to double and then I started knitting in the round. It's not double knitting, it's really just normal, like I'm knitting a mini socks basically. Mini sock. And I'm doing increases here. Oh, I have... This is the flag of France. Blue, white and red. I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, so I knit the first section flat, I mean straight, and then I started doing increases. And I'm going to do a shape that goes wider and wider, and then I'm going to do rapid decreases at the end, so that it ends in a point. And hopefully it's going to be super cute. For now, it doesn't have a lot of drape and it feels pretty weird. But I know for a fact, once I block the yarn, it's going to get beautifully drapey like this. And I'm using bigger needles. This is 3.75. And the first swatch that I found was too flimsy, was on 3.5. So this should be beautiful at the end. But for now, it's a real trust the process moment because it looks really weird. But yeah, it's the design process. Worst case scenario, I can just frog and start over. Nothing is set in stone yet, and it's just kind of how I work. So that's my swatches, and that's it for what I wanted to show. So we can finally talk about what I'm wearing, now that we have completely lost the light. So this is my Patagonia Peaks Lite. It's a design that I already released a pattern for last year in Iron Weight, which is the pink version. And this one is the DK weight version, so it's called the Patagonia Peaks Lite. And I finally finished my own sample. So as you can see, it's color work on the body and sleeves, and it's garter stitch on the yoke, and it has beautiful edging details. This is also garter stitch, and then you have I-cord edging here. I have put elastics in the cuffs, and also on the bottom here, and you have this elastic here with a cord stopper thing, so that you can change the tension. And I had to do this twice because I wasn't happy with the chart and the tension of the color work the first time around, so I unraveled everything and I started it over. But it went super fast the second time around and I managed to finish it in time for the photo shoot. So I have beautiful pictures to show you and I'm so happy about them. But I'm gonna save the best ones for the release, which is gonna happen in April. But I have a few details to talk about for this one. First, the yarn, I forgot to mention. So all the yarns are a boucle DK superwash merino base. And it's pretty common among hang dyers, so you can find it at different places in the world. And the purple for the yoke is Bluebird Day by Explore Knits and Fibers. And I had to change the battery. And the fade of blue, so the dark blue, the medium blue and the light blue are custom dyed for me by Breathe in Color Fiber Co, which is in Australia, and she very, very nicely agreed to dye exactly the colors I asked her to do, and I'm so happy. I just wanted to address also that here you can see there is basically no contrast between the purple and the medium blue, and it's okay. I mean, it is of course a lot less striking than this one or even this one, but when the motif is so big and graphic, low contrast are okay-ish. I mean, it's less of a problem than if you have something really delicate and with very small stitches and details and stuff. If I had something a bit more delicate than this, you would see absolutely nothing. But since it's big details, I mean, the lighting is terrible, but I promise when there's sunlight, and probably you can see it in the pictures, you can definitely see the motif. So just something to note if you're not sure about your colors, you don't have to pay as much attention about the contrast between your colors with this type of motif. It's still better if you have high contrast, but it's not the end of the world either. And I think it gives a nice, like, it gives more movement to the whole thing. It's not as if I had the same contrast all the way. It's kind of different each time. And I kind of like that. And you probably noticed in the pictures, so I talked about this a few episodes ago, that we are not on a frozen lake. Because we had a cold snap I think it was, at the beginning of the year? Beginning of January, something like that. we had a cold snap and a very big lake around me started freezing, and it did freeze completely. And I was wondering if maybe we could achieve one of my dreams, which is to do a photo shoot on the frozen lake, and it would be so perfect for this type of design. But unfortunately, first it started snowing, so you cannot really do ice skating on a snowy frozen lake. And the ice wasn't thick enough for us to walk on it, so it didn't happen, unfortunately. But maybe next time, or the year after that, who knows? And something else I wanted to mention is, I think it was in the same episode, or maybe even the episode after that, I showed you that I had bought some knitting thimbles, which I think I have here, so I can show you. It's a little accessories that you put on your fingers and that can hold, like when you do color work, they can separate the yarn so that they don't get tangled, and it's supposed to make knitting color works easier. So I have two types. I have this one, which is the ring-like thing with the two holes. And then I have this one, which is the same concept, but it has 4 channels kind of type, and it's supposed to keep the yarn separated. But with bouclé, it's not a good idea. Because the yarns are so sticky, if you have them in the same hand, usually you can like put the yarns, like wrap the yarns a little bit differently between each finger so that they don't come at the same time when you pull on one, because you usually need more stitches in one color than on the other, so they need to come through your fingers at a different speed, kind of. But with bouclé, it doesn't work. As soon as the yarn touch each other, they just come together and you just can't do anything about it, so it just doesn't work. So I haven't really been able to try them out, so I cannot really tell you if they are nice or not. I mean, this is the type of accessories, like some people are gonna say it's the best thing in the world, and some people are gonna say it's absolutely sucks and completely useless, so it's a very personal thing. But I just wanted to know, for me, what they are worth. And it's not gonna be with this project that I'm gonna be able to tell, unfortunately. So maybe next time. Maya from the future. I mean, from the very, very close future. I forgot to tell you one thing about the fit of this. You may be able to tell on the shoulders, there are some weird stuff happening here. I have like a bunching, and yeah, it's kind of forming this weird thing here. It's not supposed to be like that, but let me explain. So usually, when I knit a garment for myself, I knit a different size for the front and the back, because I am a different size for the front and the back. My back is like 5 centimeters wider than my front, that's 2 inches. And usually for the standard sizing chart, the front and the back are the same. And it means my back is like 4 to 5 sizes bigger than my front. So that's why I usually knit a different size. However, with this thing, the construction is quite involved, and it's not that easy to do this modification. So I just knit a size 2 and figured it would work. However, what's happening is that the front is too big compared to how it fits me on the back. So with the asymmetrical fit, it's not working as well for me, which is why there is this weird stuff happening. You can maybe see here the shoulder seam. So my shoulder is here, and the shoulder seam is down here. But on the back, I don't know if you can tell, the shoulder seam is lower than my shoulder for sure, but it's just aligned in a much better way. And there is no excess fabric, there is no weird folds, I mean, except for the one here. But yeah, you can see this is looking much more smooth and nice than on this side where I have this, yeah, it. And let me show you what happens if I remove the excess fabric. So if I pinch the fabric here, so I have 5 centimeters too much, so if I remove like 2.5 centimeters, it's laying flat. This is almost gone, so it's a little bit because of the blocking, of course, but this is laying nicely along my shoulder. It's following the curve of my shoulder, I mean. And I mean, if you remove this fold, this is laying much better than on the other side. Here you can see folds, folds, straight, straight. So it's not supposed to fit like this if you are normal sized. And unfortunately, if you are not straight sized like me, this is going to be pretty difficult to modify. Just wanted to address that in case you've been wondering if there is something off with the design because of this, yeah, looking weird. It's because of me. It's probably not going to look like that on you. That's what I wanted to say. So I'll let you go back to present Maya. And the last thing I wanted to mention is about the whole TED Talk I did at the end of the last episode. And I just wanted to come back on that because there is a possibility I was misunderstood on some things, and I just wanted to address that. So what I was talking about is the fact that a couple of dyers suggested yarns for this particular pattern, the iron weight version, not the DK weight. So they suggested yarns from their own shop that wasn't suited for the pattern. And the main reason I addressed that is because I just wanted to do like a PSA and tell you to just take what hand dyers and just yarn shops in general say with a grain of salt, because they usually don't check if the yarn they suggest is actually suited for the pattern they suggest, because they don't need the pattern with said yarn, because it would be impossible to knit a sample of everything they suggest. So I just wanted to say, just pay attention, don't believe blindly everything a yarn dyer or yarn shop says, because what they want to do is sell you yarn. So of course they're going to tell you, yes, this yarn is perfectly fine, even though it's not, because they want to sell you yarn. And sometimes they don't even do it on purpose, they just think it's going to work, but it doesn't. So I just wanted to address that. And then I realized in the comments that a lot, almost everyone seemed to not be aware of how the relationship works between yarn shops or yarn dyers and knitting designers. So I just thought I would maybe do a second PSA to explain this, because I explained it, I think, 10 times in the comments, but not everyone reads the comments and everyone was asking the same question over and over again. So I think it may be important, maybe, to explain how it works. And before I start, I haven't been a knitwear designer for that long, so it's not as if I had immense amount of experience in that. So this is just my personal point of view on this and the information I have gathered, and just me trying to understand how things works, but I haven't actually made research on that, and I haven't asked like 10 designers and 10 yarn shops to know how they work. It's just things I have gathered myself and just I have witnessed on my side. So I'm not saying this is the only way things works, I'm just saying this is how I understand things works with my own experience of like a 2 years old knitwear designer. So about kits that shops sell. For example, when you can buy this yarn to make this pattern, so we will sell you a kit, so you will have everything you need, like all the yarn you need for your size, all the colors you need, it's going to be the right weight and you're going to have the right amount, all of that. Eventually have needles and stuff like that with that, so that's a kit. And sometimes they sell the pattern with the kit, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just give you like a link to buy the pattern on Ravelry or on the designer's website. And that's what shops do. And for those kits, I would say 90% of the times, they haven't asked the designer if it was okay, because it's just how it is. It's just how things work. It's perfectly normal to sell a kit for a pattern that the shop has nothing to do with. For example, I don't know, Petite Knits put out a new design, and it's an amazing design, everybody loves it, and all the shops want to ride on the success of the design. So they prepare kits for that, and they sell kits in the shop saying you can buy this yarn to do this pattern. You don't have to think about yarn choice and amounts and colors or all of that. Everything is prepared for you. Just buy the kit. And then buy the pattern separately or buy the pattern with the kit. Let me tell you, no shop has ever asked Petite Knit if they could do that. And not only Petite Knit, like every designer, it's just not a thing. It just happens. The shops sell patterns from designers without asking, and it's just how it is. It's normal. And I know it could maybe sound a bit shocking because there are a lot of different fields, like, I don't know, makeup or clothing brands or stuff like that, where it would be absolutely illegal and unthinkable to do something like this. But in the knitting community, it's perfectly normal. Because it's kind of a win-win situation. It's good for the shop because it allows them to like showcase the yarn and give ideas to people. Like if someone comes in the shop and says, oh, I like this yarn, but I don't know what to do with it, then you can just say, hey, you can do this sweater, it's going to be perfect. So it's good for the shop, but it's also good for the designers, because for my case, the shops that do kits with my designs, they advertise for my designs without me having to do anything. Like I don't have to sign a contract with them saying, oh, could you do one post a week about this design, and then tell the people when they come in the shop and they ask about this yarn, could you please talk to them about my pattern? Like I don't have to do anything. It's literally free advertisement for me, and it's very beneficial because I do sell patterns in this manner. I mean, thanks to shops that advertise for me. So yeah, I definitely earn from that. So it's a win-win situation. It's good for everybody, and I have nothing against that. Maybe some designers do, but it's not my case. In Ravelry, when you publish a pattern, you can select an option that enables in-store sales. So in-store sales, super hard to say. Basically, it allows stores to sell your pattern on your behalf. And the idea is that they sell the pattern at the full price that's listed on Ravelry, for example, and they get a little share of that, and then they give you the rest. It depends on the shop, it depends on the country, it depends on a lot of things, but usually it's like I get 75% of the sale and they keep the 25%. And it's great, because if it wasn't for them, I would never have sold this pattern, because usually people that buy a pattern from a store, they don't know about Ravelry, and they don't know how to use Ravelry, they don't want to learn how to use Ravelry, so they are just happy to talk to someone in the yarn shop and buy the pattern from them. So it's good for everyone. And then about collaborations between yarn shops and designer, it's a little bit different. That's, for example, when Sandy from a local yarn shop, she reached out and she said, would you like to design a pattern? I give you the yarn, and then you need the sample using this yarn. I give you a few, she gave me a few constraints. Like she said, please use only one needle size and make it pretty simple and also write it in French. And in exchange, she made kits for the design. So she made cute little boxes, and you can find the yarn, the needles, all the accessories and the pattern inside the box, and you just buy the box and you have everything in there. And that's why she wanted only one needle size, so that she could make cheaper kits, so that she wouldn't have to include 2 needles in the kit. Easy. And that's a collab, because I received the yarn for free and she sold the pattern on my behalf. And let me tell you, she sold a lot of patterns, and I would never have sold them if it wasn't for her. So I did get a lot of money out of this collaboration. But it was a collaboration because we agreed on contractual terms. We didn't sign anything, but yeah, we just agreed on terms between ourselves, and we had conditions, and we worked together on this. So that's why it was a collab. But now, if another shop wants to sell kits for, it was the gecko mitts. If another shop wants to sell kits for the gecko mitts, it's absolutely fine. There is no trademark or anything that stops people from selling this pattern or kits for this pattern in another shop. It's fine. What would be illegal would be to sell the pattern in another shop and not give me anything for it. Like, some people think that if they buy a pattern, they also buy the rights to make money out of the pattern, and that is not true. If you buy a pattern, you buy the right to use it, to make something out of it, but not to sell the pattern once you own it. Yeah, it's like when you buy a book, you cannot photocopy the book and then sell it back. You don't buy the rights to sell the book. Now, to circle back on what I was saying last time, so the shop selling kits for the Patagonia Peaks is absolutely fine. I never complained about that. I think it was pretty clear. And the fact that they didn't ask me beforehand if it was okay to sell the kits for my design is absolutely not a problem. I don't mind at all. What was the issue for me is that they sold kits with a yarn that was twice as big, like not a little bit bigger or just like sport weight instead of fingering weight. No, it was 2 times too big. So you absolutely couldn't get gauge with this yarn. And that was my issue, that people would buy the kit thinking they could knit my pattern, where in reality they couldn't. But my goal wasn't to I don't know how you say that in English, but les clouer au pilori. My goal was just to use this to illustrate that you just need to pay attention that kits that are sold by yarn dyers or shops are not always suited for the pattern, because they don't ask the designer and they don't check with the designer if it's fine, because nobody asks the designer if they can sell the kits for the design. So yeah, I just wanted to make you aware that you need to pay attention to that. But I also wanted to add 2 things. First, I forgot to mention that they didn't use my pictures to advertise their kits, which makes a big difference, and I'm very sorry, I should have said that from the beginning. But they only used their pictures of their own sample, and it's pretty obvious when you look at those pictures that the gauge is wrong. There is something wrong with that. Even a total beginner, I'm not kidding, even a total beginner would see that something is off. Secondly, I didn't check that beforehand, but I should have, so I didn't know that at the time of the video, but there is actually a note saying something like, you need to size down your needle and size down the size because the yarn is too thick or something. It's pretty vague note, but basically there is a note saying that you cannot hit gauge with this yarn. It could be clearer, it's a little bit misleading, but there is something about the gauge, so you know when you buy the kit, you know the gauge is going to be off. at some point. And that makes a difference. So regarding this particular case, I think it's fine, because I was wondering if I should reach out to them and tell them something, but I definitely don't, because they use their own pictures and there is a note about the yarn not being suited for the pattern, so it's fine. This particular case is fine. However, the whole reason why I mentioned this topic to begin with, that you need to pay attention that the kits are suited for the pattern you buy it for, still stands. I just wanted to make you aware of that, because apparently a lot of people didn't. What I saw from the comments is that people, if they see a kit, they just assume it's going to be perfect. It's not. So I think it was useful to mention this. Just pay attention. And that's it. That's what I wanted to say. All right. So the last thing for today is my acquisitions. For once, I have acquisitions. I have two. And okay, let's start with the, I wanted to say least exciting, but this is super exciting. So this is yarn from Woolen Twine Fiber Studio. And I'm so happy I finally got my hands on the sweater quantity. Not that I never managed to do, but she usually, like when she does the special blends and limited edition yarns, it's always yarns that I know are going to be itchy. I can just tell from the description she makes and from the type of fibers that I used, I always know it's going to be itchy, so I don't buy them because there's no point. But this one was different. This is the Solace blend, and it's 75% Rambouillet, 25% BFL, and Rambouillet is incredibly soft for me. Some people say it's a little bit rustic, more rustic than Merino. No, to me it's a lot softer. The one thing I'm worried about is the 25% BFL, because I know BFL is next level itchy for me. But hopefully the proportions are going to be fine, and also I'm going to make a sweater and I can do the inside of the collar with a softer yarn like cashmere or something. So I think it should be fine. I have high hopes. And I bought this particular yarn because when Yule, so the maker behind Woolen Twine, she talked about this yarn, she did say it's very lofty and airy, but it's also drapey, and it's exactly what I was looking for. I wanted like a heavy decay worsted weight that would be next to Skin Soft, lofty and airy, but have drape. And BFL has drape, and Rambouillet is lofty and airy, so this is absolutely perfect. And regarding the color, you may have picked that this is absolutely outside of my usual color wheel, which is this. And here I have beige. I never knit with beige. I mean, I hardly ever knit with beige. But I wanted to buy a forest green. It disappeared after 2 minutes. So just when I was about to check out, it disappeared. It wasn't available anymore. So I couldn't buy the color I wanted. So after 1 day of thinking, I decided to go with the beige. Because, so the idea behind the sweater design is going to be a full texture, like with the stripes of texture. And the idea behind it is to replace a store-bought sweater I own, which is 100% acrylic. It's gray, super boring, and it's very oversized. And it's just so comfy. It's huge, and it has a little bit of drape because it's acrylic. And it's gray, and it's boring, but it's so easy to wear. And I've worn it so much. And I actually own it, I think it's been 15 years, because I bought it when I was 15 and I'm 31. So yeah, I've had it for more than 15 years and I worn it so much, and it's perfect. I have never depilled it. So acrylic yarns are not the absolute devils, and it's not always bad quality, even though I bought it at like Primark. So it should have been destroyed after 2 years, but no, it's still standing strong after so long. But I still would like to replace it because acrylic doesn't, like, it's not a breathable fiber, and it does feel heavy, and it does feel like I'm sweating when I'm in this thing. And I just wanted something that has the same shape, the same colors, the same ease of wear, but in wool. So this is why I got this in a boring color. And it's so soft, and I'm so excited. I want to swatch with it immediately, but I can't. I think I'm going to cast this on end of March or maybe April, something like that. So it's not for right now. I have 6 skeins. Hopefully it should be enough. We'll have to see. There is still a little bit available on the website, on Woolen Twine's website. I think there are like 10 skeins left in the worsted weight. There are a lot more in the fingering weight. And yeah, I'm super excited. And for the second acquisition, this is really, really, really special yarn. So I have a friend who has a farm. His family has a farm, and they have alpacas and llamas, and they do yarn with those. And sometimes he's like, "Hey Maya, do you want yarn from my farm's animals?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he showed me a picture with different colors, and he just said, "Just pick some colors and I can give you some." So I said I would like one skein of the white and one skein of the caramel. And then I received the bag with all of this. And I was like, what? This is so much more than I expected. So I have 2 skeins of this beautiful white. This is 100% llama, so it's not as soft as alpaca, but it still has a beautiful drape. I would say it's like a worsted weight, something like that. It's a little bit uneven in the spin, but it's really beautiful. And then those 2. So the beige one is the caramel I asked for. I think this is fingering weight. And then the brown, I would say maybe DK, something like that. It's so rich and beautiful. And I can tell this has a beautiful drape. I mean, it's in the skin, so you cannot see, but from the weight of it and from the way the yarn is spun, I can tell. And this, same thing, is going to have amazing drape. So those 2 are 100% alpaca. Now the problem is that they all have a different weight, as you may have picked up. So this is worsted, DK, and fingering. And I wanted to use them all together. So I can hold this double. And maybe those 2 can work, but also probably not. So I'm a little bit like, what am I going to do? So I have some ideas. I actually have a pretty precise idea of something I would do with those, but the problem will be the gauge. And I'm not sure I have enough, but I think I do. And it's kind of this case where I'm totally letting the yarn decide what it wants to be. And I think this is screaming garter stitch vest. And I don't wear vest. It's not really my thing. But for some reason, this is screaming garter stitch vest with like stripes. You know, the thin stripes where you have like one thin stripe and then one row of another color on top and one row of another color below. You know the vibe in garter stitch? I don't know. It would be so squishy. It would be awesome. But since this is going to be pretty itchy, this is llama, and I think they put everything in there. So the guard hair and the normal hair. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite itchy. Which makes me think that a vest would be the best, because then probably with a round neck or a V-neck, it's not going to touch my neck, and I can just have this over another layer, which would mean it wouldn't touch my skin. So that's my idea for now, but I don't know. We're gonna see. But this is so precious, and I got this for free, and it's like so unique. Oh, I'm so happy. That's my acquisitions, and I think no, I have one more thing. So in the last episode, I announced winners for a giveaway to celebrate the 2,000 subscribers on the channel. By the way, there are so many new faces around here, thanks to Leah from Leah and Knits, because she gave me a shout out in one of her videos, and I had like a ton of new people subscribing, and I was like, I haven't even posted a video, where are you coming from? And then I saw the video from Leah and I understood. So welcome to all the new faces. I hope you enjoy these super long episodes. It's not always like that. I don't always spend 30 minutes talking about business stuff, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless, and I'm happy you're here. So I was saying, in the last episode, I drew winners for the giveaway, and I think 2 of them haven't contacted me yet. So if this is you, you have won a free pattern from my Ravelry library. So please send me an email at this address and tell me which pattern of mine you would like to win, and I will send it to you. You can also tell me your Ravelry username, so I can send it to you on Ravelry. And I think that's it this time. Yes, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope the lighting wasn't too chaotic. We gained a little bit of light back, but not that much. The next time I'm gonna see you is probably next week, and I think I'm gonna do a spinning vlog, because I really want to spin. I want to spin so bad, but I just don't have the time. But as you can see, I don't have much on my needles right now, and the hat is almost done, and then I'm gonna cast on the vest, and then it's kind of it. I mean, I have my blanket, but yeah, it's a blanket. So I think I'm gonna have a little bit of time to spin. So I'm very excited about it. And I hope you will be there for it. I'm very proud of my spinning vlogs, and even if you're not into spinning and not into vlogs, I encourage you to go and look at it, because just as yarn dyers suggest you buy yarn that doesn't suit a pattern, I'm a content creator and I'm gonna suggest you watch content you're not interested in. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for your comments, for your like. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on anything, any future content from me. I hope to see you again next time. Happy knitting. I love you.